Friends, good morning. It is morning. Drink your coffee. Say whatever prayers you need to. I understand everyone's blood is still boiling here, and let's just pray that Jerome Powell gets out of office here very soon. I think everyone's had enough at this point of sweet Jerome. It's been more than enough time, years. Time to go. Time to go. I think we've had enough. So obviously, the last 48 hours of the market here, we've had Nvidia report, release their quarterlies. They were beautiful. The Mag 7 pulled it off, the banks, everything. Quarterlies have been good. This is not a situation of this is the AI clap. This is none of that. This is essentially one guy once again said the wrong thing at the wrong time, and now the market has sold off here. So what we're looking at right now is we've been here before with Jerome Powell. If you don't know, Jerome Powell had his they had a meeting yesterday about payroll, all this. We talked about it, knew it was coming. Honestly, the whole time Jerome was talking, if you sat there and watched it like I did, because I for some reason find it interesting, he was pretty positive as Jerome Powell can be, and he really wasn't. Watching Jerome Powell during these Fed meetings, these talks, or just him interview wise, it's literally like watching your child trying to play sports or in dance or just something where everyone's watching them and you're just praying they don't have a mental breakdown, so you have to drag them off the field or the stage. That's literally what it feels like. You're just sitting there panicking the whole time. And once you know it, little Billy here did not delay. He didn't disappoint. Towards the end of it, Jerome comes out after saying some. He talked about inflation, not that big of a deal. He talked about a lot of the negative was positive, the positive was negative in the right ways. But then he said, "You know what? I don't know that we're going to do a rate cut here in December." Essentially, that kind of sentence there, and the market went, "Come again?" And as soon as he said that, the floodgates of blood were open here. And the bank stocks obviously just dramatically fell off. They fell off. They fell out of the heavens. It was just holy crap. Tech stocks, everything. Nothing has been safe from this mutilation that we have seen here in the market. So we're back in October highs here with S&P 500 back down 6,500 some change. Now, this is either one of the biggest overreactions in the market yet this year. This is almost like a deep seek situation, at the beginning of the year. Wouldn't that be weird if that's what we're looking at here? In the beginning of the year, we had this huge deep seek mess, and now at the end of the year, we've had this huge thing with Jerome Powell. Now, this doesn't mean that they didn't say indefinite, we're not going to have a rate cut. But essentially, what they're looking at right now, they don't feel like, Jerome doesn't feel like they're going to do it. This isn't all the Feds. It is split, where a lot of them, half of them are like, yes, we need to do one, other half no, and then there's one or two of them that are on the fence. Obviously, bank stocks have taken a huge annihilation from this here with this news. And obviously I could put more up here, but just kind of ones that I follow, I trail, or either invest in. I put PayPal up here just because PayPal is a very, I think it's something that, a lot of people buy into and watch. Robinhood here is getting closer to going to under $100. I feel like this is happening. If you've watched me before, I try to make a video every week, something to say hey, I think Sofi's gunning for Robinhood. Now, obviously, for this to happen, the market's got to get it together here. We got to get the market, even just the market just getting back to a normal market routine of this morning. Okay, things are, the wheels are spinning here. Nothing crazy. There's no super, mega jumps today. It's just the market's doing okay. Okay, we're making the dough. The bakery's open here. That's kind of what we woke up to in the market yesterday morning. It was nice. Things were smelling good. We were oh, it's great. Okay. Now we have seen the market just completely be devastated here. And, it's going to be interesting to see how the market cleans up this mess, because really, this is it. I mean, this is the only saving grace, really, what we could be looking at here for the market to really get to this like 7,000 point range in the S&P 500 is a rate cut. But right now we're not going to hear from the Feds again until they meet up at the beginning of December, and it's either a yes or a no, and we'll see what happens here. Now, some good news with that is that Jerome Powell will be gone very soon, into the few months into the year of 2026. And what do we know? We know he just gave a fresh interview about this over the weekend where he said, like, hey, I've got somebody picked out, yada, yada. They're going to do what I tell them to do, and I want rate cuts. So that doesn't mean, we're going to get rate cuts right off the bat, but it does mean, like, hey, this is where we're going here. And, Jerome has fought the rate cuts, obviously. We got two little ones out of him. So we'll see what happens here next. I don't know. I don't know. God, this is the third, fourth time this guy's sunk the market this year. It's crazy. And this is the thing, dealing with such a wonderful market we've had here this year, where things have just been running high. This isn't like, if somebody's going right now like, well, this is the AI bubble they've been talking about. This is not the AI bubble. This is not what this is. We just went through quarterlies. All of the mag, everything released great quarterlies, and many other great AI stocks release unbelievable quarterlies. We're still seeing insane finances come into these companies. Even the bank stocks are good. So right now, this is a situation of things were cleaning up. We were cleaning up the mess today. We were taking out the trash, sweeping the floors. Like, things were, like I said, the bakery was open up here. It was open, and we were baking. But then Jerome talked, and this is what we're dealing with now. So the market, this could be a huge overreaction. I don't know. This could be a huge overreaction. We'll see what happens here. But nonetheless, this doesn't mean, what do we know as investors? If this isn't your first season in the market, you've been through a few seasons, you've been through some winters, summers, everything. Of course the market will rebound here. It will come back tomorrow, today, next week, next few months. We'll see here. But there are some deals out here. I do think there are some deals. PayPal under $60. That's a solid deal. Because I know a lot of people have been buying PayPal, at $70, $80. So that is not bad out there. Bank of America, obviously, dividend attached to that. Wells Fargo, dividend attached to that. Robinhood, I don't know what. Like I said, I try to talk about this a lot, but I do think that Robinhood could take more damage. I think that Robinhood, if the market continues in this unknown balance beam of where it's at right now, I do think that Robinhood could sink down to $70. I really do think that. Now, that is not me being bearish whatsoever on the company. I think they are going to be a vicious problem for other banks years down the road from now. I really do think that, because of everything they're pushing into. They're not going anywhere. They're just a fantastic company. The problem is that it is been overbought. And that's just the double-edged sword of the conversation. I would say that about my child that I love, and I would tell them, you can't sing. I'm telling this to Robin, like, you're just a little overbought right now. You're a little overbought. So there's some trimming happening on Robinhood right now. I think into the other big conversation, obviously, is Sofi. Sofi is a huge problem for Robinhood right now. There's no doubt about it. So let's talk about Sofi. Sofi has sold down to $25 here and some change. And once you know it, this is the brick wall. This is the pillar. I said this yesterday, or I said this sometime this week, where I said, like, I've been saying this, but there's such a great wall right now with Sofi at this $26, $25 position. I mean, this is, every time we see trouble in Sofi land or the stock market land, this is where it falls. It did break into 24 today, so this is the lowest we've seen Sofi in a minute here, in a hot minute. I bought more today. I'm going to be totally honest with you. I bought more. We haven't had it since, around November 7th. Excuse me, not November, I'm sorry. September, we did have it at $24. So this is a moment to where this could either last. The market, this is the thing, the market wants to do well. The market wants to run. The S&P is trying to get back to a 67, 68 at the most, but I think that's going to take some time at this point. It wants to run here. The people are looking to buy. There's no doubt about that. Things were doing very well this morning, and then when this meeting started to happen, it was like, oh God. So, we have proof. The quarterlies were great, everything. SoFi here, I've talked about it so much, from what they just released with what they're building foundationally wise with crypto, amazing. I mean, that's so good. That is something that is going to obviously be such a foundational pivoted point of direction for SoFi into the future with what they're doing with crypto. And if you don't know crypto, you don't own crypto, you don't understand crypto, it is fine. There is nothing wrong with that. The main thing you need to know is that SoFi is doing all the right things and new things for them as a bank with technology and pushing into their bread and butter of finding people that they can sign up with accounts. And that is something that is so amazing right now. SoFi is definitely in this I think it's more or less in a toddler stage right now, where it is, maybe not maybe, like this very kid stage. We'll say like, somewhere where it's like, a 7 to 8 year old, where it is growing, it's running now, it's getting up and going, it's talking, there's good things happening with it. It's growing up very fast. And, this is a situation of where we've had SoFi here just, even 2-3 years ago, where we were like, we know this is a good company. We know what they're doing is right. And there's going to be a time where this company starts to get a lot of attention. Now, obviously, this has been a great year for SoFi. No doubt about it. But I do think that 2026, regardless even what we're looking at right now in the market, this is one reason. Like, if you're wondering, like, why are you not panicking? I'm concerned that you're not panicking, Dylan. I'm not panicking because we've been here many times in the market before. This isn't the first time this year alone that Jerome Powell has said something to devastate the market. We've been here time and time again. With this too is that there's going to be rate cuts in 2026. There's probably going to be a lot of rate cuts, if not just a handful of big ones. Bank stocks could do very well next year. ETFs could do very well next year. This is why even someone like Tom Lee, who's been talking about that, talking about, your mutual funds, ETFs, bank stocks, next year could be a great year. As boring as some of those may sound to people, they could do well, especially with what happened to them today being, slashed, prices cut down here. I think this is a moment that people will either hold position, buy into their position, and they will do very well off of it. SoFi is the right place regardless. When stocks sell off like this doesn't mean that you've done something wrong. It doesn't mean that. It doesn't mean that you've done something terrible. This is a fight right now in the market. There is this pivotal time, place, moment in the market right now, and investors are trying to push through it 100%. We have all of the data, all the information, all of the fight ammunition we need right now as investors to see that this market should be running better than this. But right now, we're fighting, this situation of Jerome Powell once again. We just went through these Q3s, everything was amazing. NVIDIA, I've talked about NVIDIA. Everyone's talked about NVIDIA. I don't even want to talk about it anymore because I don't want to sound like a broken record with it more, but it was awesome. It was knocked down, hands down amazing. There's no doubt in my mind that NVIDIA next year will easily push back into $200, and within a year, 2 years, more than likely, we will probably be talking about another stock split with NVIDIA. If that comes to 2027, 2028, more than likely that is coming down the road here. That is a real situation, probably what we're looking at here. because by this time next year, NVIDIA could be easily be releasing, and mathematically, if what they say is true, and Jensen has been true this year with what he's been saying, the guy hasn't been lying to us. NVIDIA is going to be releasing $100 billion quarterlies by this time next year. I mean, do the math. I mean, it's right there in front of you. And that's the thing, Jensen himself and a lot of these analysts, these people on Wall Street, this is why it's so important to listen to the CEOs that are in the business of tech. Listen to the people that are in Wall Street, Tom Lee's, Dan Ives, people like that. They're giving you clues here. They're giving you things that are true. And they haven't lied to us here this year, so I'm not going to start to not listen to them. I'm curious to see where we're going to go from here. I really am. I'm very bullish on Sofi, 100%. I think Sofi is probably top 3, top 5 especially, best, places to be right now for the next, 5 to 10 years in the market. There is a lot that is going to happen here with this company, undoubtedly, growth-wise. This is a moment in time. We will see if this mess can be cleaned up. We've got this day left in the market, and we'll see what happens here. Friends, I want to wish all of you the best of luck. Stand strong. We know what to do. We know what's going on, and we will see what happens. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.